Florida.
Florida.
My sister's in Texas and they're like, they can't get any bread or anything, like everybody's.
Oh, Texas takes it hard. I remember a few years ago, they had a cold front like this and all the gas lines and stuff froze, the valves. Because they're not used to having water or anything, and everything froze. There was a whole bunch of supply issues. But
They're
they couldn't get
way
stuff out
more
of Texas.
fragile than they'd
They
like
are.
claim to be. Yeah.
Like, we don't have insulation in our home. Like, how about the AC? You're routine AC in the summer. Well, yeah, I guess.
Texas, that's tough. All right.
Let's call the meeting to order. What have we here? You know both sides of the right away?
Pardon?
Both sides of the right away?
Yeah, they own from the lake all the way up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, it's like roads.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about any
Coverage, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was the one I was asking about with the, cause there was a variance issue. 2 years
Couple of
ago
years
now,
ago.
a little over 2 years.
For the little shed that's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in front of
for-
it?
For a 5 foot, and
Is the shed staying?
Yes.
Did the
Yep.
board 2 years
And you
ago
want-
issued a variance for the shed to go in?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't very big.
And you want to put this at the same 5 foot, so that basically the lines would be.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. And this is going across the street, right, in front of the tree line?
Yeah, it's right behind
mean-
the shed.
Okay,
Yeah. So it's, along the west.
but you go past the shed to get to the garage.
Yes.
What is the distance?
59 feet from the back of the shed.
No, I'm not worried about that one.
On the other side of the garage?
10 feet, I would,
It'll be about 5
yeah,
to 15 feet.
About 50.
from,
The-
oh, that's 30 by 56.
Yes.
So you're, gonna be
30 plus the 5 is 35.
yeah,
It's 14 and on the other side of the barn to the lot line.
enough to drive a vehicle.
Yeah.
Or something on that side, but I believe that was the reasoning why you had it on that
Yes.
side.
Yeah, because we go all the way to Westlake Road. Just get-
If you moved it up to where you don't want it, it'd only be 11.
15 feet, you still
Yeah.
have vehicles through there.
But we don't drive any vehicles because it's all woods. It's just, you know,
Oh, this is all all wood?
That part is
Yeah,
all
it's
woods,
all
yeah.
you can't even, when all the trees are filled in, you can't even see the cars. Right now, you can see it through some of the trees.
Now, in the application, you said the neighbor's shed is 5 foot. Is that gonna be right next to where you're building? This thing is 5?
Oh, that's closer up towards the garage, like where Sunset Drive is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just, because one of the concerns is having buildings too close together for
Yeah.
fire.
Well, that's what we're doing, the shed, that was a question that was asked too.
Yeah.
And no, the shed and their shed offset. Their shed's kind of like where near the garage, just to our place.
So there's really on either side, especially the 5 foot setback, there's really nothing on the south side of you that, okay.
You're gonna have to cut down trees to put this in?
Yeah, it's actually kind of cleared out because we put firewood in this area. We've had it 12 years, so we kind of. We put the rowboat up there and stuff, so it's pretty clean out already. There's really nothing, I mean, from there on, it's. A lot of trees, I mean, every year, falling, I mean, especially.
You got ash?
Yeah,
What's the distance from the back of the garage to the tree line?
it's probably, I'm gonna say 40, 50, well, maybe not. Back there, probably 30 feet. And the rest of that's just all trees to Westlake Road.
So basically, if we flip the garage upside down, it'll be approximately the hitting of the tree line.
Yeah, it's sense, yeah. And that was some of the placement of it was because you look at some of these trees, you're like. Does that look happy?
Oh, no, I,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had one come through my roof, so
Well,
it's not pleasant.
yeah, so our neighbors, Powell's, they have a pole barn, they're right next to us, they're to the north of us. And I talked to Frank and then like, when he placed his, he already had us before we bought our place, but his trees are far back. And he's got some tall pine trees. So there's, so I make sure that's good.
yeah, right now, the ash are the big.
Yeah, Asher. There's no ash there. Most of.
You're lucky.
Walnut trees.
All right.
You mentioned something that you don't want to interfere with the flow of the lot. Could you elaborate on what the flow would be if you moved it?
Oh,
I think that was
Yeah.
so you
just
could
the
get by it.
accessibility to the woods, because we have like, little trails we go through, so. All of us we're really close neighbors, so between the woods, we have little trails through the woods through each other's places, so like, I don't know if you heard of the Youngs, they're down towards, north end of Sunset.
Yeah, they're down near, Poplar, or, yeah, Poplar,
Yeah.
is it Poplar? Yeah.
Yeah, so Jolie, the one daughter, you know, we have these little things we take our golf
Golf
carts
carts.
through, like, we're really rough trained people. With golf carts in the woods, so electric nonetheless. So it's, you know, we have firewood and stuff up in there, so it's kind of neat. Cause I thought about putting it right in the center. But I mean, when we did the shed to the south. And we spoke to our, you know, the Revilles that are south of us, he's like, I don't care. Then you can get up there with a tractor or something like that, it's not, you're not encroaching, cause there's so many trees. And the way it works out, it was kind of like this vein of open area.
So you've got trees on this would be your north side over here.
Yeah, there's no trees on the north side.
There's no trees on the north side.
Until you get to our neighbors Apollo's, there's some trees like right there, and there's some tall trees. And drilling holes, I didn't want to affect the root systems. So going towards the south, there's really nothing over there with the Revilles. So kind of the parallel up. So because if you have a shed here and then this here, it looks too hodgepodge, I think. So
Well, our concern is the setback and the size of your building. So that's pretty good size. And if you got 15 feet, 5 on the other, you could still get a lot through 10 feet. Or a smaller building. What's the plans for the building?
let's put our water toys, you know, we have a couple jet skis, the trailer, it will fit in the garage. We have a lot of water toys and lawnmower, tractor, just this summer, well, at the end of the summer, I keep the tractor outside. And I got chewed up by critters and had to drag it on, take it to Land Pro because they chewed up all the wiring harness. I'm like, oh, so I like it to look clean outside, so I just have things inside. We live in Spencerport. I have pole barns at home, and I just don't like that look of stuff all over. And it's kind of it's tight, you know. And so we take our stuff down to the marina, and I'd rather not have them store jet skis because they're wacky on that. So, we have our dock section, the panels, and we keep those inside so they don't get all messed up there, little panels and stuff. So there's a lot of things when you're all put it on. Doing a lawnmower, it adds up.
Okay.
Or some of my wife's things. Mention those.
Outdoor furniture.
So we kind of like with the garages there, the cottages, there's no basement. So it is a crawl space, so there's really not many places to put stuff. And keep that storage.
So you're gonna have doors on the lakeside,
Yeah.
double doors that open up, or you're gonna have sliding doors?
I actually printed out because it's something Joe asked me. He didn't, I don't know if he did something from Morton. Oh, there you go. He's here.
Yep.
Let's see. See, this is the little
Yes, it was 6 copies. But you're very close.
Yeah, I just gave
Some of this
mine down,
Here,
one of mine down, so.
Is this the exact one or
Yep.
is this something
It's
that?
exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Here's the detailed. You're talking about the place.
Yeah, I was asking.
Another one.
Make sure you didn't-
It's the point on the top, it's not anything near 30 feet, it's 412 pitch, it's just a 1 story.
So it'll be a little bit less than 90 to the peak.
Thank you.
So it's a 12-foot sidewall then?
Yes. 412.
So at the average grade, because you're probably at a 10% grade there.
Yeah.
From the hill. I think that's what it
Yeah,
was.
something there, because it dips up, everything gradual, it seems like the, I call it, because I'm a carpenter, the rise to run, seems to be pretty average. From the cottage up through,
Yeah,
it seems pretty consistent.
the code, takes the average grade, and then that's where we pick the height.
Yeah.
You're well under the height.
Yeah.
Gutters?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and then the downspouts, how is the gutter and the water runoff being handled?
Well, it's actually a good question there because I mean, we forget about erosion and stuff like that. Actually, like ground leaders, they go down to the ground, so it's not eroding the house or the
Surface
building.
thing,
Yes.
right?
I take it down and actually I just bought, my wife is an Amazon expert. It's a tapered, I forgot what they were called. It's a tapered angle and it accepts a 3-inch pipe, or it's a 4-inch pipe. So we take that down and it'll dissipate into the grass as opposed to a concentrated area like everybody says that has an elbow. I like to very take it so it just
What direction?
towards the lake.
Towards the lake?
Oh.
See, this is where the concern is. Come up both sides, I assume, because you're peaked in the middle.
Right.
So you're 5 feet over a very large roof size, right next to your neighbor's line. Which way is that pitch on that?
Uh, oh, to east or to
North and south.
Oh, yeah.
We're actually, it's interesting to say, and I don't understand the reason why,
Yeah, yeah.
is our backyard is like a valley with our neighbors to the north and south, and I always wonder how that happened. Because everybody else's is like flat, and it's like they had an in-ground pool there or something. It's not, it's
Right,
just
yeah.
between the garage and I'd say where the shed is.
Go down.
It dips down, I mean, it's probably from here down to the carpet. It's gradual. You know, the kids play wiffle ball and stuff back there, but it's weird because it's higher over here, it's higher over there, so we kind of get the water.
Okay, well, that was my concern, because you're
Yeah,
kind of that big a roofing area with what you're talking about. I use the same stuff.
So we're
in
not
Florida, by the
affecting
way.
our neighbors by any means, and I can take a picture, I could email it to you, Joel. Because I have your email, and it's interesting because I've like the people who used to live there, Sally, she, her last name,
Pierce.
Pierce, she's passed, so there's nobody to ask. Actually, there was. Because I was questioning, because like the Powell's next door have been there for a long time, but just doesn't make any sense. It's like we're that.
You know, we had a glacier here a few thousand years ago. right?
Oh, well, yeah.
That's probably-
Well, I guess I was there. That one. But yeah, it would not affect, and that's
Yeah.
where I would shoot it, so, because they're at the front, and then go down and it'd be fall out.
Yeah, because I'd be concerned about that if that was, if
Yeah.
it was tilted back towards your neighbor by any means.
When Morton does this, what are you gonna do with the extra soil they're gonna dig out on the west side?
Actually, because the way that the rise to run is to bring it around, because the east side would be more elevated as the pitch down towards the lake to use that grading around to have positive drainage. It's not, I mean, where it goes up to the west side is basically virgin, so well, take the topsoil out and stone on there. And
Yeah, as long as, where I was going with that is as long as the topsoil doesn't end up.
Below you and take away that
no,
that drainage area.
Right, and
Oh,
we
no,
also
there's-
don't want it on the west side where the surface water is gonna come down and hit it and then go to your neighbors.
Right.
no, actually, good point on the west side, actually creating a swale there because Mother Nature does this thing, it still goes up, even though when you put something level, the grade is still going up to the west side.
Yeah.
So actually before it, because you don't want that to come down and be a wall to the building.
Nope.
So it's just a gradual swell and then it comes around it so that basically you can't fight Mother Nature. So it's gotta come down off the hill, go around it, because you're just obstructing Mother Nature in a sense.
As long as the swale doesn't direct the rain or the surface water to.
A neighbor's.
Correct. Yeah.
Otherwise, you gotta put some kind of a ditch along that side.
Well, that's what we did with the shed. We did a retaining wall on the neighbor side that we're closest to. And it kept their, virgin ground undisturbed. And everything goes around the shed and we have gutters and downspouts on that too. And it stays in our path of travel. Like
Yeah, the shed's a lot smaller.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just worried about the surface area. That's a lot of surface area.
There's enough property there in front of it where the water dissipate.
Yeah.
Yep.
In front of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just worried about the neighbor to the other side.
So any particular reason you've got 30 foot in width?
Well. Like barns that I have at home is 42 by 60, so I was gauging the size of like what we had at home, so. That size I was looking at, they even did like a cheat sheet, like. Outline like trailer and a tractor and a lawnmower and this
Right.
and that, and kind of using the spatial area. And then somebody else stuff, we're not gonna mention that, but. To, it fills up quick, and I learned that at home, because we had 42 by 60, then we added a 45 by 60 on the back, because you think this is big enough. And
Oh,
probably
it never is, yeah.
isn't. Yeah, it never is.
And that's a standard build for Morton, right? It's not custom.
No, it's one of their, they call it the, oh, it's a word, there's no special drawings, it's their custom, or not custom.
Yeah, it's like a stack.
Their stock, yeah.
It's a stack.
So it doesn't have to go to their engineering department, all these, because that costs more, I'm like, no.
Right.
You don't have to have the special trusses, they're a standard build truss.
Right, right.
Something we look at trying to do is to achieve the same goal for you with no variance required. So that would be narrower and longer. You get your square footage, your same storage. I was asking, is there any particular reason you've got 30 foot?
Well, the 12 foot,
If you did a 64 by 24, you'd be at 1536 square foot. It's close.
it's funny you say that,
You wouldn't need a
because
variance.
when you do, I've learned this, when you do a longer building. And you have a door in the front, because I was thinking about doing a door in the side too. You have to leave that tunnel of everything open to get things in and out.
Yep. Otherwise,
So-
you're playing musical.
Or put
everything.
a door in the back.
Yeah, but then in this particular thing, there's woods and trees and everything, and it's like. What do? You create this stone gravel accessibility thing, and it's like.
Then you're creating more impervious ground.
And I kind of want to keep it so it's like. It's nestled in there, it's the same color as the cottage and the shed and the garage. So I toyed with 24 feet. And then I was like, because their sizes, well, they didn't.
It's usually on 8 foot increments.
Yeah,
Which
correct.
30 is a little
So I
different.
asked,
28.
Bruce, I said, what's this and that? He goes, well, if you're gonna do this, I would do this size. Based on, he's doing Jerry Young down at Pickerel Point. His is bigger, I think. But, don't reiterate that. That's a guy thing, He's rolling the size. Well, I asked his sister, "Oh, what size is his?" And then saw Jared, I'm like. Okay, that's great. We don't talk about that anymore. So.
No.
I wanted a little bit of buffer on each side of the door, the 12-foot door. Like with a trailer and stuff like that. It's in there. I tried one time in the front, those doors, 8 foot doesn't do it. So at home I have a 12-foot door.
No, if you're gonna move boats and stuff, you don't, you could.
Yeah,
That's, yeah.
that's the last thing you wanna do is bung up the corners and everything, so,
8 foot doors are rough.
yeah, and then when you get in there. You wanna have some room to the left and the right, cause. I like to put like a bench or something, I'll have some of my, power tools and stuff in there.
Shelves, stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's, and then to pretty up, we put the 2 windows in the front just to make it look like it's nice.
Part of the neighborhood.
So if you came off 7 feet you'd still have 12 feet along the other side. Could you do that?
Could. Yeah, and this is, when I talked to Joe, this is to the gutter line, this is to part of the overhang.
The overhang, correct.
So this 5 foot now is actually 6 foot to the
Building wall.
To the building,
sidewall, yeah.
yes, because the overhangs counted on.
Count as
on
the
the lot line measurement.
Yep.
So they'll like, he'll actually have 6 foot, so if you moved it a foot, you'd be at.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm still worried about the water coming down the hill and having that just small area, because you're gonna have to have, if you're tipped downhill, you're gonna have to put that level. They're gonna have to build up the sides. That's gonna happen,
Or
otherwise
take
you're
out-
gonna,
or take out of the hill.
or take out of the,
Yeah.
yeah.
The more-
'cause-
I
I see what
started
you're
the one on
saying.
Pembroke
To
Point, they
create-
took out of the hill.
Continue
Yeah.
that, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because even though you got a bowl below you, you're still gonna have water running down off the top of the hill.
I know.
And you're gonna have to, if you're too close to the edge, they're gonna have to build your edge to keep the water from going into your
And
place.
I contemplated with doing, because the retaining wall block that we did were the 80 pounds, not the little small ones you see at Lowe's and Home Depot. I kind of contemplated on that, like we did the shed. To do that to allow the natural drainage, like the natural pitch that it has. And not affect their area, but it, at 56 feet long, so. The shed is 20, I was like, oof, so. Oh my word,
So this could be just on gravel?
yes, yeah, it's
Yeah,
a floating slab.
So if you're not pouring a slab, then you'd have to build the slab up.
Yeah. So
Okay,
right now it's just CR1 pressure one, number one
Yeah.
pressure.
yeah, that'd be like I say, because you're gonna have to have that side and it's gonna be tapered coming off the side. So if you can get even another foot would help that because 56 feet long, you're gonna have to be, how high up you're gonna have to raise the front of that? Because your back's gonna be topsoil, basically ground level.
4 foot.
And you've got I was gonna say it's gonna be,
I think, it's 4 foot, so even if you took out 2 foot on the backside and then raised it 2 foot on the other side, that'd be rad.
Well, I went down, and looked at Jerry Young, his pitch is pretty close to what ours is. 'cause
Yeah,
he's
that's-
more doing the same thing.
You had
And,
4 foot on the back.
Yeah, his is dished out, I think, a lot on the backside.
Yes, it is.
And we I dished out pretty much the same thing. I'm not, on the front side. I think the average is probably 2 feet. I guess if you go in 2 feet in the back, because you have to cut some of the earth. Because if you start at virgin ground,
yeah, but I'm talking where the building is, because you're gonna have to go
Yeah.
down and put gravel, backfill gravel,
yeah,
everything too, but then the building, you wanna have that at ground level. You don't have to have below ground level.
because
You have water running.
they cut into his on the backside, so the front side wasn't way out of the ground. I know he's having a lot of trouble with his neighbors over there too.
Because that's where I was concerned. If you had to go up 4 feet, you're gonna be 2 feet off the building with just the berm to keep your building from getting water inside of it.
Well, and the other thing too is, because the guy from Morton, he said, well, I don't know if I put gutters on, I go, oh, I want to control the water. But there's no chance I would put a building.
Yeah, we
without
would
gutters.
have brought that up.
Yeah.
You would have to.
We did.
Or do some kind of,
We did.
Yeah,
if you aren't gonna do gutters, then you would have to do some kind of, building drainage on the outside.
Yes,
Yep.
to collect the water. and
Yep.
pick it up.
Which is more of like that's what they're starting to do now in modern new builds, because the energy code. People don't wanna see the gutters, so now they're doing,
It's crazy.
drainage, 6 inches down all the way around the house.
Yeah, see now, the Youngs, on your, Albert Cove, the 2 barns they have back there, they're more barns, they're big. They didn't put any gutters, and Bruce, the salesman, he went over there, and just, oh, you gotta clean this around, because they did gravel around there. But every time the rain goes, it hits.
Yeah,
ground.
just keep wearing it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then plant growth and all that stuff, I go,
Big
it's
stretch.
sloppy. Like, not a chance, so at least with this, with the control of water, then it takes it down and. So,
Yeah, like I say, our concern is runoff into the neighborhoods and where it's gonna go.
yeah, because where this is in the woods of our neighbors as well. I mean, they have all trees there, so their grass is, the grass of their backyard starts basically where the front of this barn is. So this is tough in the woods developers.
If you went with Ed's suggestion of just moving it over 2 foot, then the base of the building is now gonna be
It's-
8 foot.
Yeah, the base would be 8.
the base would
and
be
give you
8,
12
your
on the other
overhang.
side.
You know,
Right, we're going from a 50 to a 30% variance that way, moving it 2 feet.
yeah,
Right now it's 50% variance.
All right, it's you see. Yeah, I guess we could. I mean, it's not like there's not a chance in the world, like. We don't take any vehicles through there. You can't, because in the woods there's too many trees.
just that 2-foot adjustment, just
Oh, yeah,
adds a
'cause
better
like I said, I'm worried
buffer and
about the gravel
reduces how
buildup,
much
and
the
you're gonna have to
variance
have
is.
a bevel away from that.
Yeah.
And actually do it.
So
So
the sidewall, because right now the sidewall's 6, so you're saying 8 to the
Eight-
sidewall?
8 foot to the sidewall, so then your overhang is 7 foot.
Okay.
Yep.
That's fine, yeah,
so you're willing to change that on the application?
absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's something you guys.
You can change it right now.
Yep,
Just initial it.
initial it.
So,
Change it, initial it.
I had a question about it. Is it gutter? Is it gutter
No.
in the report? Is that part of, it was one
No.
of the things that is,
The
Yes.
state code actually calls for to the soffit edge, so.
The soffit.
it was something I was thinking, because I do things with fractions and inches and stuff, so. Like, is that gonna count? Is it, if it's a 3-inch or 4-inch gutter? Or 6-inch gutter? Okay.
Good question to ask though, because the state's not consistent.
Yeah, either other small towns around.
Well,
Around the state.
I was not gonna ask it, because I'm like, oh yeah, we gotta add that 4 inches now. I'm like, okay, you're right.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Daylight savings time got me all screwed up. Feels like it's midnight.
Early morning.
I would start yawning sooner, it's like.
Okay, sounds like we don't have any more questions. Do you have any questions?
No, now with this, would I still need to do the other meeting for zoning?
Oh, you
This
mean
is
for
zoning.
planning?
What was the other one?
You-
Variance, yeah.
This is the
it.
variance,
This is it.
yeah,
So
but
this is a one and done?
Yep.
For
this is
us,
a one and
You don't have-
done,
does he have
right,
to do
and
any, oh, because of the
he
size of
does
it,
have to go in front of the
you
planning.
gotta go to the planning board
planning
because
board,
it's over
okay.
what, 800 square feet or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
But. And I saved him the time, cause sorry,
Ted.
Ted would have just sent him here to
Here.
get a variance before.
Oh, yeah,
he
you gotta
looked
do
at
variance
it.
first.
Yeah.
Honey, doesn't understand that, but
Yeah.
They don't understand a lot.
yeah.
So we vote now on accepting the application. And then,
So
Because-
did you initial the,
yep,
okay,
yep, I put 8 foot to sidewall, 7 foot to the soffit. On the application,
and he'll have to initial that.
so this is the original.
Yep.
Just initial down here.
And it's in our minutes, so you're probably.
Yep.
Okay. So, entertain motion to accept the application as it stands. Second. Or.
So we got 2 seconds to go first.
I
Pick
I
one.
have choices at first.
Just to explain what's going on here. So first we accept the application. When we're done, doing the modifications, if not, or anything, and then we vote on the actual variance. It
Okay.
seems a little confusing, but I want to explain that to you what
Yeah.
what the
Two votes.
part is all about. So all in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
and there's 5 parts to the second vote, so.
Yeah.
Don't get confused by the yeses and the nos.
Okay, Ed back.
Okay. So whether the benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant. In this case, we discussed the variances and the options, so I believe we're all set with the means to do this. Undesirable change in neighborhood character or nearby properties, no. Whether the request is substantial, reducing it to 30% from 50% is a much improved situation, so I don't believe it is. Whether the costs have adverse physical or environmental effects. We discussed the environmental issues and you've dealt with them. And so that's a yes or a no, I mean, and whether the alleged difficulty is self-created. These are in this case, but that's the least critical of all the different stations. So I vote for the variance.
Carol? Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the variance. Doesn't sound like it, so. No, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other method feasible. Have talked through changes, so. Benefits sought can be achieved by the adjustments. Yes. Whether the requested area variance is substantial, that's been adjusted, so no. Whether the proposed area variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical slightly but not sufficient enough to decline. And whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. Yes, it is, but again, you've worked with us on this, so. I would say yes, I would grant the variance. Chris?
Whether benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant, we've made the adjustments with that, so the answer is yes, but that's been addressed. Undesirable change to the neighborhood and character to nearby properties, no, it's consistent. Whether request is substantial, that's been reduced, so it's no longer substantial. Whether request is adverse physical or environmental effects, the environmental effects have been addressed, so that would be no. And whether alleged difficulty is self-created, pretty much any variance, they all are. And I vote to approve the variance.
Jesse?
Whether benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant, a definite could. Undesirable change in neighborhood character or to nearby properties, I don't believe so. Whether request is substantial, we're down to only a 30% variance, I don't believe that is substantial. Whether request will have adverse physical or environmental effects, nope, we talked about, went over that. And whether alleged difficulty is self-created, it definitely is. But 3 out of 5 wins, and I vote for the variance.
Alright. So your guys' next step will be to talk to the planning board chair. Yeah, he's here on Thursdays before the week before the planning board meeting, so I would shoot him an email as soon as you can to try to get on the agenda for this month.
Then it should help you, the fact we talked about the water and all that. kind of
Yeah.
stuff. 'Cause it's all, yep, they should have a minute, so should be have a copy.
Yeah,
of it.
he'll get our minutes, and then he's also he has an application, and he's gonna require some stuff too.
Is there stuff I need to bring?
When you're emailing with him, he'll ask for the specifics.
Site plan review, probably.
Yep.
Environmental impact form.
I can, do I have your email?
Yes.
I'll email you his information tomorrow. Yep, and I would email him as soon as you can. Just,
Ted
Ted
Mayhood.
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 Yeah. And his information is on our town website too, and so is the planning board application. The application and the seeker form you could download and fill out. All right,
Thank you.
Good luck in your
Thank
project.
you.
yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
I mean, if you guys are not busy or anytime, maybe there's some stuff. we can help me with, okay?
Do it for you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Drive careful.
We did a good pause in that. That was.
Yeah. Well, I could barely read, sorry.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
Sure. What you got? What do you have?
Well, do we
The
want to just
applicant.
address Mr. Westbrook's
Yeah,
oh
but
yeah.
Yes.
He Tompkins, but Mr.
Yeah.
Westbrook was
Hmm.
the
Yep.
agent, so
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up.
I emailed him and he sent an email.
Do we have a survey?
To withdraw the,
He's withdrawn.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did withdraw it?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he withdrew it, and I wanted to get it in the minutes
Yep.
on record, but I also had.
No, thank you, because that,
Just as well.
yeah, because if he didn't withdraw it, then we're gonna have to vote on it, because we can't leave this thing hanging out there.
Right, but, well, he withdrew it, so what
Yep.
do we do now? That's the end of
It's,
it?
That's the end of it.
Because he, see, you denied the permit,
Makes
so they can't build. So they came to us to review the appeal. That was the appeal part. So if he withdraws his appeal, we don't rule on anything.
Okay,
That's better for him too, because we ruled on it and went against him. He'd be
He'd have
shut
to
down
wait
for
a year.
for at least, yeah.
So hopefully he's going to come up with something different. Or not need either,
Yeah.
something different that doesn't need a variance or something that needs a less severe variance.
I'm glad that nothing got built on that property, because it's so.
Oh, that's
like,
bad.
It's like 45 or 48% lot
Yeah,
coverage.
that's,
Yeah.
No
I-
building permits for anything on the properties.
that's why they put all those in place, because that was happening for years.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Come join the Inquisition.
I'd like to move to close oh no, I guess we shouldn't close the public hearing. This is still.
Well, you can
No,
close the
we
public
could-
hearing, just
public
not the
hearing,
meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Let's move to close the public hearing.
I'll move it.
Second,
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes, sir. So you're the wannabe
Yes.
in this mess too?
How are you? I'm Eric.
Try to get you tuned up as much as possible. There's actually. Some of these courses are still going on. There were a couple winter courses. So
What, what are the hour requirements anyway? 4 hours?
4 hours. 4 hours, and if you're lucky if you get two that have anything to do with what we do.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you get two. It's like an hour and a half and you get the same hour and a half stuff every year. So, yeah, it gets real.
Where do you guys do that?
All different places. The last ones I went to was Batavia.
Last one I went to was work.
And there's some going on.
You can also do some online. if
Yeah, there are a few
online.
online.
Yeah, there was, I know they had
They do
two.
some at the county.
Yeah, they had two before. Yeah, that piece of paper right there. There was two that were before Christmas and I think there was two after.
One
something
of
like
which was, what is this all about?
2 days ago.
We'll have to
Yeah.
look at, Association
These are
of
online.
Towns
Okay.
has now
So this
got
is
a
the
whole
13th.
library full of
Then he can do
online
it.
things.
January 13th.
And as a member of Association of Towns, which we are,
Right at
Trish
the
should
bottom,
have a
right?
login and stuff for it. We should be able to, we should get the
Yeah.
list of that to see if there's some of them that are
That's an
actually more
online
even.
one. and it's 2
relevant.
hours.
Yeah, because that's my best, is pet
Yeah.
peeve is we. So you go to these classes, you have to have 4 hours of training a year. And it's nothing spectacular. Some are pretty interesting. If you've never done this before, they go through the part about open meetings law and that kind of stuff is all important. Then you understand what's going on
Yeah.
and why. You've done that.
Right, yes.
And
And it's the same stuff.
and the same stuff for 5, 6, 10 years,
I
you
did
know.
have corrections too, didn't we? It's all the same.
Oh, yeah, you work for the state, so you got all the
Yeah.
state stuff. Yeah, you
Yeah,
know what
I'm
it's
a
like.
retired prison guard from Five Places, right? I got out a couple years earlier because I hurt my shoulder. You know,
So
retired.
5 Points, that's the one over by the old Army Depot on the other side
Yes,
over
they
there?
actually, they got land from the government. The county built a jail over there just on the road as well, and then they put that ethanol place over there too. So it's pretty chopped up now, that.
No, I
it
used to
be 10,000 acres.
Go over there and look for the white deer on the
Yeah,
baseball
well,
games.
that's, part of my bid was perimeter.
Yeah,
I used to drive around the outside of the prison in the truck. And those white deer would actually come right up to the truck trap, because there was a woman that had the truck trap bit out there, you process all the vehicles. And she used to get the bread out of the mess hall and bring it out. And those white deer, they would walk right up to the shack. And like all these other trip bands from all over the state would be there. And she'd be out there feeding deer, and they'd be bringing inmates in, and they were absolutely amazed that there was a white deer.
yeah,
But then they were feeding out of the truck too, all on top of it, so.
yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely get the importance of laws, everything like that. Sometimes you don't like them, but they're there and you follow them, so.
Yeah, and as you got a chance to see tonight, I mean,
Yeah, and I've
we
been
are-
through one myself.
the
Oh, okay.
purpose
I
of
just,
this
when I
board
put my
is to
garage up, I had to
give
do it.
lenience on following
Like
them.
Steve
if
here, Steve
Yeah.
Smith.
necessary.
So like I had a little bit of experience, and I know, you know. very
So
minimal
we're
of
considered,
everything.
the technical term is quasi judicial. So we have to have a quorum Have to have at least 3 of us because there's 5 people on the board. And that's where we haven't had an alternate. So like for tonight, Linda was not here. So if you were an alternate, then you would sit in and you'd be a voting member.
Okay.
Okay,
Only when you're not an alternate at the time.
right.
Now, can I come to them? Just
Oh,
to
yeah.
get-
Oh,
Yes,
Anyone.
you
Or-
should.
Anyone
You know,
can
just
come.
to, just to get.
As an alternate, we, encourage you to be at all the
Right, just so
meetings
you
that
get
we're
what-
having,
see what
just in
this-
the event somebody doesn't show up, and
Right.
then to get familiar with what's going on.
Right.
But just so you know, in 2024, there was only one meeting where everyone was here.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna speak as a new member.
Right.
And I'm still big time learning because the 4 hours that you go and take is nothing. I hear every time things like, oh, okay, I need to know that and that and that
Right.
and that. And you're given a manual, but the manual doesn't do, it's that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there's a
Yeah.
lot of challenges and learning in a very slow process.
I understand a lot of it because I've built a lot of things over my course of my life, so I understand, I've done tons of permits and all kinds of stuff like that, so like, I understand like a little bit of the whole process, but I don't know a ton of the laws and all that, everything else.
Yeah, we're on the other side of the
Some-
process.
Something else, you become an employee
Right,
of the town,
yeah,
so which versus volunteer,
right,
so.
yeah, yep,
And a lot of it is the zone. Actually, almost all of it.
Most of it.
And some of it, we get into legal stuff. Where the zoning board has to make decisions.
And Chris was a ex-supervisor of the town. And I've been on this since 96. Prior to that, as town justice, and I served on the, what is that?
JP.
Appeal,
Yep.
for the,
Yeah.
taxes,
oh, yeah,
how they call that.
yep,
What year are you JP?
88 to 96, somewhere in that.
Board of
timeframe.
Assessment Review.
Board of Assessment Review was after that, yeah. Yeah, I was the youngest elected one in the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't really plan on being retired at 46, but I am.
Well, this doesn't pay very good.
Not gonna get rich.
No, yeah, I
I made
separated
$90
my,
last year.
I separated my shoulder, or my bicep right off my shoulder.
It was sold, I
Snapped my
couldn't
tape
cash it for an
tendon,
extra week.
And then my bicep ended up down here,
Oh.
because the tendon snapped off. Yeah,
They rerouted it through your shoulder, drill a hole and pull
They
it through?
didn't, they couldn't,
No?
they went through my armpit and screwed on the outside. Cause it was so short, they had to take so much of the tendon out, that's why I lost so much loss. So they wouldn't let me go back to work, cause they didn't think I could put my hands up to protect myself, because they had to take out so much tendon. So when they had to take out so much, they ended up screwing it to the outside of the stud. I could feel it right here on the outside. It doesn't even go back to it.
That's a lot worse than my
That's really-
separated AC joint
That's right.
last
So
year.
Look at the size difference in my hands. And I'm right hand down.
Left hand dominant now, right?
I mean, it's nuts. I've lost so much loss of use and I can't even, like I used to cut fire and everything. I had to go buy a splitter. And then I gotta have people come help. me.
You're gonna buy a splitter anyway, when you get all.
I used to do it off my hand.
So did I,
Well, I wanted to, because you gotta kind
when I was
of,
his age.
you gotta stay somewhat in shape when you have a job.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just go in there being a slob, I don't think. You know what I mean?
Good for you. I've already given up on splitting by hand. I bought a splitter.
Yeah, I've done a lot of it. Even the farmer I used to work for when I was a kid, he used to make us split it all by hand.
Yeah.
And he used to sell it. He'd sell 200-300 fish per year.
Now, before I could afford a splitter, I did it by hand.
But that guy had millions of dollars of equipment. He wouldn't buy us a splitter. He just gave me and my buddy Jason, and a couple other kids, some splitting balls and said, "Here you go."
Yeah, it's a good learning experience.
Yeah.
We had to do things by hand.
It is. Honestly, as I get older, I think the reason why I did it is because he wanted us around in the wintertime to help with chores, but he didn't have enough for us to be there every day.
Yeah.
So he just gave us something to do so we were there. Essentially, it's like that. Well, it worked out.
So we meet second Wednesday of every month when we have a case.
Right.
Right, some months there's nothing.
Yeah, sometimes,
Right, okay.
this year has actually been a
No, I
busy
get
year.
accepted, I get like an email, stuff like that. Is it with,
Yeah.
with the actual permit?
What happens
If it's
is
one in?
Make a recommendation to the town, to the town
Has to
board.
actually sign you.
Yeah,
Okay.
Vote you in.
so we'll make a
Right,
recommendation.
right.
Our consideration.
Yeah.
And then
And then after all that, like when there's a meeting set, like if there isn't one, you just get updates.
Yeah, like I usually do the updating and massing.
You do?
Except for
So
me.
I was gonna stop at my neighbor and ask him.
Sometimes Ed and I aren't on that.
Yeah, except me and Jesse are standing in the parking lot.
Yeah.
We thought there was gonna be one there one. That was the guy we just talked about.
No, it was a good dude.
He was supposed to send
Right.
stuff to us when we have a meeting
Right.
and then he did.
Oh, they-
So,
that's-
So
yeah.
we just look for email from Joe to know
So,
if there's
yeah.
a meeting that morning.
Like that last one we did is probably the simplest it gets,
Right,
you know, and then there's some really.
right, there's no complaints from neighbors and all that kind of stuff like that, I'm sure that gets complicated.
Oh, we've had them. We've had them. Yeah, one thing that we get into this, and sometimes you'll hear us, well, if you're here, you'll hear it. We have to remind people that the variance isn't for them, it's for the property.
Right, yeah,
A lot of people come in and say, oh, my neighbor doesn't care. This guy even said the same thing. It's like,
right,
well, that's nice.
right.
It really only counts if your neighbor does care.
Yeah, there's huge
Yeah,
issues with like
because
drainages and all this other stuff, like it's huge issues. it could create
Yeah,
for the
all we
public.
had, what was it, snow falling on the other guy's house? Yeah, that was
That was
last
the
year.
biggest common misconception about variances is that you have to go get your neighbor's
Right,
consent.
your
for
neighbor.
the
Yeah, I
variance. No,
don't
that-
really
that's
care what the
never
neighbor
been the
thinks.
case.
Yeah,
Yeah, when I got mine, because it was so close to the easement when I built it, and then there was the power line issue in there, and there was all kinds of stuff in there, so that's why I did. You know, because actually, like where the garage sits, it should be, it looks like it should be 30 feet this way, but there's an easement there, so I couldn't put it on there.
Right, that's right, the power line or this, well, you don't have sewer.
And the private road that was up through there.
Yeah.
You know, that easement, that's what it is.
yeah, around the lake, we've had a lot of stuff, a lot of things around coverage, easements. Those are two of the
Most of
really
it's
big
in the
things.
lake.
come up.
There's big easements around here, because there's huge tracts of land and there's no access to them.
Yeah, you
Right,
got
they're
that,
just
and the
private-
sewer
private
easements they
roads and all
put
kinds
through.
of stuff. I mean, there's one behind us too. No,
Most of what we do is the Lake District, people trying to put a deck on the neighbor's property. That's pretty much most of it.
Or building a
Yeah.
3-story garage.
Yeah, we had a case actually go to court last year.
I wanted,
Right.
the results of that got published in the law of the land.
Yeah, we knew that was gonna come out in the state stuff.
Yeah, it came out in the state stuff in the law of the land for
I went all the way to the.
Supreme Court, and we won.
I've been to
And the
court
guy
a
ended
whole
up
bunch of
doing, the
times.
guy ended up doing exactly what I suggested he did.
Right, yeah.
Before he ever left.
I've definitely been
I
to court.
just issued his CFC.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, but I went, and they were done with it, but he was wanting to put.
I don't know, he'd been in there working, you
Yeah,
could
he
hear
wanted to put
things,
plywood walls up and he thought he had to wait to get the CFC.
oh, to put them,
And I'm like, I don't care about the plywood walls, it's.
Yeah.
It's not you're not living in it, it's an accessory. structure. We finally. Got that.
now we gotta have fun with the
Yeah.
Young's barn going in up the road.
So yeah, it's funny, he knows so much about it, he must know Jerry.
Well, it's the same builder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Man.
I gathered that, he must, I didn't
Oh.
know that he knew Jerry.
Well, that's because where he lives is where Jerry's mother and father hid the place. He's only a couple places up from where Marcia and Tom lived. Marcia and Tom, which are Jerry's parents, live on Sunset.
It's only 1,600 people.
Oh, this is, cause I remember Tom Young.
Yes,
'Cause
this
he-
is his son.
Right, that's
Oh.
right.
Jerry's his son. And
How are you
it,
that busy?
where Jerry is.
He's the one that built Mickey Mouse Castle down there.
Yes, and where Jerry is the original cottage of Tom and Marcia before they built the castle.
Gotcha.
Because everything's.
Yeah, the closer everybody gets.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Personal.
And that was, when he built it because it's got a turret thing.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody called it the castle on the lake.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse
It's
Castle.
not a job safe.
Right,
And then Gertz
At
had
least
to
in
build a
my-
place right on the line.
I said no for. a lot
That
of
section
years.
has some dandies going on.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty good with saying no.
That's one of the reasons I think it'd be good.
Well, you understand how laws are structured,
Yes.
and that's
And
important.
then, like I said, so some of the laws you might not have to agree to, but you're on this, in this situation, there's laws that you have to follow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is. It is what
Yeah,
it is.
so like I said, because we're considered quasi judicial, we get to rule on it.
Right, right.
Because they can't write a law perfect for every situation.
Right, yeah, and that's why we have the zoning boards and the planning boards and all the other stuff.
Yeah, this is zoning appeals board.
Right,
So that's what we're for.
That was the Supreme Court judge's decision, is that they weren't gonna.
Overturn ours.
right, they usually rule with the board.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of, like-
Yeah, it's called.
They didn't wanna
home rule.
overrule a governing body.
Right, right.
Is what the actual verbiage of the decision.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of lawyer fees, time. There was
yeah.
so much money spent on that.
I know. I've been through a lot of.
That's a
lawsuits,
real
actually.
expensive one-story garage he has now.
Yes.
It was, I think it was a loss for both. parties, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The residents, here, town of Payne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pay the
Yeah,
town.
so we go through this checklist. One thing that says always been in our favor is if we can't just say, oh, no, you can't do that. You want to show due diligence. And that's why we go through the checklist and we compare it to the laws and we try to work with people on what they're doing. That's all
Right.
part of it. So we've never had a ruling go against us because of that.
Right.
So,
Yeah. CYA.
and
It's like CYA.
yeah, well, there's that and there's, really the people in the town are our customers
Right.
Yep.
Well,
and you have to take that attitude.
oh yeah, and I'm sure they probably get attitudes too as well if it's their property and.
You'd be surprised, most people, and I found this in criminal court
Like,
too.
we're just like today.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I can probably do that or whatever.
So that's.
Except for the one that went
most
to
of them. We've
court.
we've had some doozies.
Yeah, we had a couple that were just straight up no's and,
Well, the last
for good
one-
reason. I mean,
Right.
The last
we had
Yeah.
one,
the guy wouldn't change the shed.
yeah, we had a guy that just he wouldn't budge, so we just, it was.
Turn it down.
And then there was one where the guy was gonna get financial gain on it. He had 2 properties on the lake. And he wanted to
It's split.
subdivide a small little portion of his other lake, so it touched the other house, so he could sell it for more. And he came right out and said that, and we're all like, no.
It's not very- like I said, it's-
Right, cause he was gonna sell it anyway.
Right,
Right.
it was up to no benefit to him,
Right. So
except.
it's just, you'll see a bunch of weird stuff.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the classes, they don't cover any of that. They don't even cover case law or nothing, even court, local case law, nothing.
What did most of you guys do? You look at online stuff? Is there anything else?
No, I've been doing it since
is there anything
'96,
else
so-
you can-
Oh,
you can look
got
at,
this
or-
book for the town.
Yeah.
Different books?
town
Yeah, you'll
code.
get a town code book issued
Okay.
to you.
All right.
And they're also online. They're on the website too.
Okay.
Yeah, if you stick to the zoning laws, like chapter 120.
Money. That's
where
pretty much where
majority-
we-
That's where the majority.
A majority of the cases
Yeah.
will be ruled out of there, and then there is some gray area, and that's where we run into some of the
Right, right.
with the lot coverage percentage and maps and
Right.
stuff.
Sounds good to me.
Well, glad you're interested.
Yes.
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah,
interesting
thank you.
to it still. And I'm retired now, so I don't really have to worry about getting stuck, and that's why I've never done anything like this before, because they were always mandating us and stuff like that. You couldn't really have a schedule to do something like this. I mean, sometimes you were get stuck for 24-hour shifts. Where you go home.
Yeah, I worked
You're stuck inside there all day.
48 years up in Rochester with Kodak and then Fairstream, and I worked lots of shift work, but Kodak was good. They gave you 40 hours a year for civic duty.
Oh, okay,
And when we got sold to a different company, they took it away.
right, yeah, they didn't do anything with that. The only special treatment we got then is when we all had to go to court for whatever else we did, you know what I mean? There's all kinds of different stuff we had to go to court for. It was nonsense all the time.
Sure.
Right.
And then, so what, you guys give it to the
Town board.
town board?
Yep.
And then what do? They, at their next meeting, they vote on it?
They'll vote on it, or
Okay.
Yeah. They'll present a resolution. They'll
Yep.
present a resolution appointing you
Okay.
for whatever the term is. It'll find out whatever the unexpired term is. That's because we're all on certain term things.
Okay, so I would basically be finishing out a term at this point? Or what?
I don't know.
yeah,
if we can.
believe so.
I don't know if,
Yeah.
I don't think there's an open term on that one because it's been so long.
Right,
But
We've tried to
probably
get
not. It'll
Bill,
probably
yeah.
start over again. It's been a while.
They'll know that.
But what'll happen is, once that's done, you'll get a call from the town clerk.
Okay.
For you to come in, sign an oath of office, and then she'll issue you a book and all that stuff, so.
sounds good to
It
me.
might not be at this month's meeting, because I think Chris likes to have everything in.
And to a certain date. Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, 'cause there'll be a resolution, right?
You send me an email.
You should be able to.
He should be able to put it on this month's meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, we're not that busy.
Do I need to come for that or no?
no,
Okay,
No.
alright,
No, because they don't vote on anything.
okay,
They just passed the resolution.
Yeah, they just.
alright. Alright, sounds good, thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Nice to meet everybody.
Nice to meet you.
Have a good
Night.
day.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll see you someday.
Yeah. I'll see you later. See you later. Good one.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Coming.
That went well,
Well, now, yeah,
and I'm glad they had the other guys pull their
played football with my sons.
Very good.
Yeah. He went to Wayland with them.
I'm
He was a year or
curious,
two ahead of them.
I gotta ask, whatever happened, I was missing from the meeting. There was a guy that applied, and I forget his name, probably
The minister.
10 months ago.
Oh,
He was the former president of the Pittsford Rotary.
Yeah.
he's the one that
That had the
involved
resume.
with Little Lakes.
Yeah.
I forget his name, whatever.
Yeah, he kept not showing up.
He
Yeah,
never
not
showed
coming.
up.
Not showing up.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
3 months in a row, he didn't
Yeah.
show
Yeah,
up.
he had a conflict
Oh,
with
yeah.
Little Lakes.
Yeah.
And he, yeah, the same day of the month.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he couldn't make the meetings. So
Yeah.
Okay.
So we need to review
Need to reopen.
minutes.
yeah. I read them when I got here, so.
A lot for this one. Back and forth for a while. Yes, should be, because we gotta do the meeting, we gotta do the minutes yet, so.
Yeah, we
Well, I
can't.
think, yeah, my wife was trying to join it. She couldn't look at it.
Oh.
But it is recording. I know it's.
Well, we had to let her in. Oh,
Oh,
We might have just not noticed the little pop up in the corner. of the screen to
Yeah.
allow her to come in.
We should check to make sure you're here.
Right, keep track of
probably.
Who's business?
They look alright to me.
Well, we were here for 2 hours.
They pay you by the page, they should.
And it's coaching me how to do minutes.
yeah.
Just slim them down. a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you gotta be careful with that, because it is in court, but I mean, we do have this video now, so that's,
Right.
the actual written one isn't as critical as it used to be.
I used to do it with the word.
I
Oh,
know.
I know you did.
I know. My file on the Castronova thing that I got at home is probably, it's in one of those expandable pouch things.
Here,
I'm sure.
I don't have.
Yeah, what I did is I got a text message from Ed Jackson with photocopies of the pages from the law of the land thing. He says, oh, it's not too often the Canada sends something, states law of the land articles.
I move we accept the minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
I move to close the meeting.
Second?
Alright.
Aye. I'm used to it.
I want to think before everybody. Is he on?